welcome to the Alexandra Wenman Show. I am here with awakening teacher Jane Alexander, who's going to talk to us today about all of her amazing gifts, her experiences with angels. Gosh, where do we begin, Jane?
Oh goodness, I really don't know where to begin actually.
So why don't we start with, how did you come to get into healing work and what you do today?
Okay. Oh goodness, where do I start? I'm going to start right at the beginning. As a very small child, one of my earliest memories was being surrounded in the most incredible, blissful energy. And I didn't quite understand what it was. I felt it as a teacher energy, a mother energy, and I just remember drifting off to sleep at night and just knowing that everything's fine, and no matter what was going on the outside, because my childhood was quite hectic at times. You know, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I started to see energies, spirit, but I actually came from a Catholic background, and there was a lot of fear around it, and like parents would say, no, you're not seeing this, and I'd have nightmares. Anyway, fast forward, I kind of let that go a little bit and stepped into the full 3D kind of stuff, and ended up going through school, absolutely hating school. I knew that I shouldn't really be there. It didn't feel right. I was always a real contrary Mary. I just really hated being told what to do. It was almost like, no, I'm going to do it my way. It shouldn't be done like that. And so I really struggled with that. And, you know, it was a real case of being, trying to fit into a square peg into a round hole. And I was a bit of a black sheep of the family. And it was other people's perceptions of me. And I kind of played up to it in a way. And so because of that, I ended up getting married quite early when I was 22, and had 3 beautiful children, but unfortunately the marriage wasn't right for me, and it was quite difficult. And during that time I started to get very, very depressed, drinking too much, just not feeling that I was fulfilling what I was here to do. I couldn't understand it. Still seeing clairvoyantly with my physical eyes, so I would see spirit that would manifest, and I always knew that there was something out there, obviously, because I was seeing it. But
how would you experience the seeing? What would it look like to you if you were looking externally?
Okay, so in those days I would see literally physical spirit would come as you are now.
Wow.
And they would manifest, just under the ceiling or in the corner of the room. And I used to be terrified at times. I used to think, oh no, what's happening to me? What is this?
Did this begin when you were very, very young? So you would just see dead people walking around like ordinary people?
Totally,
wow.
Totally. Mm. And I had this absolute fascination with Jesus. And I know now that it was obviously that I probably had a lifetime there at that time, but I was pushing it away, and I knew that I was being called into service, but I was too busy in my own darkness. As I say, I had my 3 children. You name it, I had it. Eating disorders, OCD, really bad depression, as I say, drinking too much, a bottle of wine a day, sometimes more. I just was trying to escape my life. It was a really, really hard time,
And did you feel from early on that you had something important that you had to do? And you
totally, absolutely. And I even remember, and this is the funniest thing, walking down the high street and actually saying out loud, well, I know I'm here, I'm not coming yet. It was almost like I had to stay doing what I was doing. I now know, obviously, that we have to go through certain things, obviously, to be able to help others. And I bless that time now. it actually came to a kind of like a climax, if you like, with this downward spiral, where back in 2012 I'd got married again. I'd had another child, so by this time I'd had 4 children. And I was just, I suppose, just pedaling through life, you know, just not fulfilling anything, never been able to stay in a job for very long, because again, I found it very difficult to be told what to do, and I just didn't seem to fit anywhere. And I sat there one day and I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I really don't want to be here. And I literally heard the loudest voice that said to me, Jane, it does not have to be like this. And I was like, really? What? Who's that? Who's talking to me? And from there, oh my goodness, my third eye just went shh, and I had the most rapid, incredibly overwhelming awakening. I didn't know who I was, where I was, and all the time I'm trying to like deal with the everyday life, the children, the husband, and I had like spaceships going over my head. And I remember once I was sat in the lounge, just minding my own business quite in the early days, and I decided to go into the kitchen and get some Nutella because I needed a chocolate fix. Sat there with my Nutella and just putting the spoon in, and suddenly this galactic gold like ball just went zoom and was hovering there in front of my face. So I'm like there with my spoon with the Nutella going, what? And it was really funny because I put the Nutella down and I went and stood outside the front door because I thought, this can't be happening. What is happening to me? There was such a sense of fear because I literally thought I was the only one, because at that time it wasn't really spoken about, because I'd spoken to what I call traditional mediums, and it said to me, you must close yourself down, you shouldn't be seeing like this. And I thought, but I can't close myself down. I went through all the closing the chakras and doing all this, and it just wasn't like that for me. And I just thought, hang on a minute. Carried on going through the fear, and it got to the point where I was actually frightened to go to bed. And even though I had nothing to be frightened about, because I hadn't seen anything that was frightening, I started to see with my external vision lights that would light up the whole of the room. I started to see, I didn't think at the time that it was the auric field, and I still don't. I would see people light up, and my whole body would light up as well. So my body would turn gold or pink or green. I'd turn into the Incredible Hulk. And I was like, a little bit what is it? I'm not taking it. By this time, I'd kind of slowed down. I was still drinking. I'd slowed down the drinking quite a bit. And I actually carried on drinking properly to the extent that I was for another year. But I was seeing all these lights, and I was going to bed, and when I closed my eyes, I could see with my third eye, I had all these kind of like slideshows of ascended masters coming through, and then I'd have like what I call real-time visions, where I'm just thrown into another life somewhere, and I just couldn't understand it. So I thought, right, okay, I feel quite alone here. I'm just gonna like deal with this myself.
Did you ever try to get some advice from anybody about what was going on especially in terms of the galactic stuff, or did you just feel like you couldn't speak to anybody?
I did get some advice from a couple of people, but again, it was the galactic stuff. I kind of went down the route with angels, and I found somebody that could help me with that. But with the galactic stuff, no, there was nobody there. I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody. And my fear went one night, and I'll tell you what happened. We were actually burgled, and we'd been burgled 18 months before, and the burglars had come in and taken everything. And I was woken up before the burglary by a beautiful pink light, and I was told, do not be scared, we are with you. And from there, and my bedroom was actually downstairs, from there I could see some guys outside the door with crowbar. I could see the shadows from where my bedroom was. And in my head I called out, Michael, 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 do not let them come in, because by that time I'd read enough and learnt enough to kind of know that Michael was the protecting angel. Because I didn't know who was visiting me. I didn't know, who was there. And Michael stopped them coming in. He spiritually barred them coming in, and they literally walked off. And from that moment, I knew that I was protected, and I had to just let go of the fear. And so, when I had what I call one of my nights, where I had a night of like trance, where I was awake all night and having all these downloads, and goodness what, I was like, okay, just go for it, do what you need to do. And I surrendered. I surrendered to what was happening to me. And then I was then able to go and find some beautiful teachers like yourself that were able to help me.
I know, because there's a story about how we came together too, wasn't there? And as these things happen, you often get guided to kind of work together.
Yeah.
So Jane and I have known each other for a few years now, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just get a little bit more detail on your awakening. Like what actually happened? How did you know that moment? Was there like a moment where you felt suddenly a huge shift and something was really different? Because you'd always seen, right? You'd always had these gifts. But did something shift to another level?
Yeah, because as a young girl, obviously I was tapping in that blissful like feeling that I remembered when I was lying in bed. That obviously was a beautiful high vibration. I actually feel that was the energies of Mary Magdalene. And over the years I've lost it. So the difference was I was able to tap back into that beautiful, the bliss.
Mm.
Literally, there's no other word for it. It literally is like my eyes were opened and I was able to see, not just walk into a garden and see kind of like a veil over the garden like there'd been before, but actually see colours that were brighter. And the biggest thing for me was learning to love myself, because I'd actually spent the whole of my life thinking, what's wrong with me? Who am I? Yeah. It's still quite emotional when I talk about it, actually, because it was such a journey to find start to find that love for yourself, that compassion, was just absolutely fantastic. And I will always feel such huge gratitude for that, for actually finding and accepting myself for who I am. And so that was one of the biggest things. But to be in spontaneous bliss was pretty good.
Yeah, the spontaneous bliss helps.
Yeah, but I think one of the hardest things is, I've said that I've got 4 children, to be a wife and a mum, and you've always been a certain way and acted a certain way, and then all of a sudden you are, literally living in between 2 worlds. And I think that's so important. That's a really important point, because I think those of us that are awakening now, the whole point is that we're supposed to be here, here in enjoying the earth and doing our everyday things. And that was hard, because I so didn't want to be here when it first happened. I wanted to just be in this bliss the whole time. I was able to stop drinking as well, to the extent that I was drinking. I actually stopped completely for 3.5 years.
That's an incredible part of your story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how that happened for you?
Yeah, it was after a particular kind of like, say, drunken binge, but I had been entertaining at lunchtime, and I'd gone through so much alcohol that day, and I just, as alcohol does to you, I ended up laying out on the settee and woke up till about 1 in the morning, and my eldest son, who's now 25, was sat near me, and he said, Mum, you don't remember Dylan going to bed, do you? Dylan's my now 8-year-old. And I said, no, I don't. And something just hit me. So I'm seeing the angels, and I've got all these beautiful beings around me, but I still carried on drinking. And I went upstairs, and I just cried and cried and cried, and I said, take it away from me, please just take it away from me. And the only thing that I can describe is, for the next 2 or 3 hours, I had a light show. I had an absolute light show where every single spectrum came in for me. And I just lay there, and I'm like, okay. And I woke up my husband about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I went, I've just had this most incredible thing happen to me. And I said, it's been lifted, whatever it was, it's gone, you know. And I went and didn't drink for 3.5 years, and now I'm able to very rarely have it's just not who I am anymore. You know, I have a drink, anymore. It doesn't own me. I have a drink or I don't have a drink. Yeah. You know, so it was such a gift. It was such a gift. Yeah.
It's incredible. So Jane, over the course of your journey and your awakening, have you had any of your past lives surface?
I have. I knew that I'd had definitely a lifetime in Egypt, or many lifetimes in Egypt, because it's no coincidence that prior to just waking up properly, I'd just come back from Egypt, literally about 3 days when all this started to kick off for me. And it was actually wonderful that when I'd been by the pyramids, which is where I was, that I was able to have some time away from my family, and something must have happened, and I felt so drawn to going there. So I knew that I'd had many lifetimes there. I mean, I've seen various kind of like snippets of lifetimes. One of the lifetimes that really springs to mind is when I was actually, it was kind of like Northern Europe somewhere, and I'm waiting for, it's nothing very exciting, I was waiting for my lover, and I was beautiful, I was absolutely beautiful, I knew I was beautiful, I don't think I was a particularly nice person, but I was waiting for my lover, and he was really handsome, and he arrived on his horse, and he came and carried me away. It's really funny how these visions come in.
Yeah, they sort of surface.
They kind of like just bubble up, don't they?
Yeah. It's amazing. And I think as we expand our conscious awareness into, well, that we're more than just this one personality, this one body, that there's so much more to us, really, isn't it?
Totally.
It's amazing. Yeah. So, and with your work, because you've trained in a number of different therapies, haven't you? How do you work? If someone were to come and see you for a healing session, what sorts of healing would they be able to experience through your sessions?
You know, it's really quite a funny question to answer at the moment, because I'm finding that I am a trained hypnotherapist and an NLP practitioner, and also I'm trained in as you say, a couple of healing modalities, and the healing energy that I do, I almost don't put a name on it now, because I'm getting clients that are coming in for clinical hypnotherapy who, it turns out, they're having a massive awakening, and the sessions kind of evolve, and they're a little bit of hypnotherapy, they're a little bit of NLP, there's counselling, there's self-empowerment work going on, there's the channeled healing going on, and so there's a bit of everything, and I think it's the sessions just evolve exactly how they're supposed to be. And in the beginning, I was doing a lot of angelic Reiki, which is a beautiful, as you know, beautiful healing modality. But yeah, I think clients that I seem to be attracting now are clients that are particularly feeling the energies in a very negative way at the moment. So they're very depressed, or they're anxious, highly stressed, So that's my particular favourite. I work very simply. I work from my heart rather than my head. I use my intuition, and yeah, I totally love what I do. I'm absolutely passionate about it. Totally passionate with it. So yeah.
Do you feel like you found your calling?
My calling, I know without a doubt, because in the beginning it was like, where do I fit? I didn't know where I fitted, but I know absolutely 100% now that my place is to help those that are just awakening, and actually even, they've not even got to the stage where they realise that they're awakening, and to help them, to empower them, to show them how to start to love themselves, and that's where it all starts, obviously. To help them to perceive themselves in a different way, and to look at things differently, and that's why it so absolutely works brilliantly being a hypnotherapist, because I'm able to draw on everything, and even if I've had a client that's come down the clinical hypnotherapy route that perhaps isn't open to initially to anything spiritual, all my guides and guardians are coming in anyway, and so it's quite funny that somebody's sitting there because they've come to stop smoking. We've got all the archangels here, and galactic beings coming down here, and I have to laugh sometimes.
It's like they get it even if they don't want it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing, and your connection with the angels is incredible. What would you think? I just wonder if you could give us a little bit of your take on what the angels want us to know at the moment, because obviously a lot of people on this planet they're experiencing a very heightened sensitivity, and as somebody who's always had this heightened sensitivity, how do you think the angels are helping us with that at this current time?
I think it's very simple, Al. I think they just are trying to, it's about connecting back to self. It's just trying to help people to remember who they are, who they really are, because we get so caught up in the density of this earth, as you know. We're conditioned from cradle to birth. We have television and our hand devices, and we live our lives in so much fear, and ultimately there is only love, and it's helping us to start to learn to let go of the fear, and so it's that simple. So they're literally coming in, and it's so beautiful to see everybody starting to wake up and actually realise that they're not alone. That there's always been that beautiful connection within their own heart, that we've just forgotten how to connect back. We just have forgotten that connection, and that's why they're steaming in now, and all the beautiful cosmic energy coming in, because we've been under a difficult control for 300,000 years now, more.
Yeah.
And so the time now is for us to remember who we all are, and just to things to go back to love. It's simple, but it is simple. I don't believe in overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
That's quite funny actually, because that was one of my things. It's like, because I always felt like as a child that I had a veil. It's almost like over my brain. I felt like I couldn't articulate in a particular way when I wanted to say something to somebody. Like at a dinner party, I couldn't ever feel like I had anything interesting to say, because I couldn't converse in the current affairs, because I was never interested. It kind of threw me into horror.
All the news and the small talk and the...
But again, I bless that now, because the people that are coming to see me need simple. That's exactly what they need.
That was going to be my next question, because you often you're very much at the forefront of people's awakenings, aren't you? That seems to be
Absolutely.
where you're positioned, is that as people awaken, you're sort of like this little angel that comes in and goes, it's fine, I've got you.
Yeah.
So have you noticed a sort of a common thread that people are experiencing as they awaken, or is there are there any kind of, is there any sort of similar pattern that you're seeing with people that come to see you?
No, because I think, I mean, obviously we're all one, but we all experience things uniquely. And so, however we're expressing ourselves externally in a negative way, so that could be through depression, anxiety, addiction, phobias, anything. It's all searching. It's a manifestation of, something external to them. And so that's different for all of us. For me, obviously, it was actually quite a few of them. I went through quite a lot of those things. But it's about them understanding that if they're searching externally, they're not going to find it. And so when they come to me, we kind of put that aside. And we'll start, and again, it comes back to love. It's about self-love. It's about getting in touch with who they really are. And I believe 100%, again, it goes against all of our conditioning. Always put other people first. And a lot of people, the sensitives that come, they're givers. They always give to everybody else, and they forget about self. But of course, we can't help anybody, or they can't move on in their journeys if they're disconnected from self. And of course, as we know, self is divine, and when we have that disconnection, we can't focus. So we look externally. With me, I was looking for that external feeling of artificial bliss that first drink would give me, that kind of zoning out feeling. But as we know, we're never going to find what we're looking for in a material sense, in an artificial sense, through drugs, alcohol, shopping, new love.
The shoes won't do.
New love, until, because we're constantly be searching. It would never be enough. Alcohol, you're only as good as your last drink. You need to drink more to get that feeling again. You need to go out shopping for more shoes. It's constant, you see it, that, the people at the top, the powers that be, the elite, there isn't else, they haven't got anything else, they're just looking for more power, more people, we're always looking. And so we're all looking for that for that happiness, where do we find that? Well, the answer is we find it in here. It's here. It always has been.
And we need to remember that it's in limitless supply too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not something that's going to run out. We've
Absolutely.
sort of this idea that, I'm going to run out of money, I'm going to run out of food, I'm going to run out of this. We've been kind of taught that there's a limit to the abundance, and when you link back into that love energy, I've just got to say the energy while we're talking is amazing.
It is beautiful. I can feel it too.
So Jane, thank you so much for talking to me today.
It's
Can
been
you
a
just
pleasure.
tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you and come for a beautiful session with Jane Alexandra?
Okay, so I've got 2 websites. So for my hypnotherapy and NLP, it's janemariealexander.com, and for my spiritual work and healing, spiritual teaching, it's angelichealing.co.uk.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jane. I'll give you a hug.
Welcome.